Good morning, traders. I am Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, July 21st. Investors anticipate a host of big tech earnings this week and continue to watch trade developments. This after Friday ended mixed. Markets hovered around flat all day. The Nasdaq ended up by only 10 points or 0.05%. The S&P 500 gave up just about half a point. The Dow dropped 142 points or 0.32%. Bill, let's get into a new week and Monday with what is happening in the markets this morning.
I guess, good morning, Emily. Listen, I'm watching the S&P, and you get the trade deals. The trade deals are in focus this week because we're rapidly approaching that August 1 deadline. You know, the EU is said to be ready to push back on the Trump tariffs. We'll see. There is an ECB meeting this week. I don't expect them to do anything, but they may. Who knows? Shares of Block, they're higher this morning. It's, they're going to be added to the S&P 500 on Wednesday. They're taking the place of Hess. After the bell today, you got earnings reports from NXPI, STLD, CCK, and MEDP, MedExpress. Tomorrow morning, you got earnings from Coca-Cola, Philip Morris, RTX, LMT, SHW, and GM. Then you look at over in Europe, and you're seeing that Europe is kind of flat to lower. I mean, you got the DAX down 16 points or 0.07%. You got the FTSE down 7 points or 0.09%. The CAC is lower by 0.36%. The EU is said to be talking about preparing a host of countermeasures to the U.S. That's not really good. But mining stocks are showing some gains, because they're displaying positive action. But banks are showing some weakness. And then turning your attention over to Asia last night, the Nikkei was closed. There was a holiday. I think it was Marine Day. But Hong Kong finished up 168 points or 0.68%. Shanghai in China, it was up 0.72%. Mining tech shares are higher in China. President Trump is reportedly going to meet with President Xi ahead of that October APEC summit. Then taking a look over at crude oil this morning, and oil is trading mixed. I mean, you got WTI slightly higher, up 0.13%, whereas in Brent is lower by 0.07%. Markets continuing to assess EU sanctions on Russian oil and the pending trade tariffs with the U.S. on the EU. So those are causing some cautionary movement in oil. But that's what I have for you in terms of morning market update report, Emily.
And Bill, as we both mentioned, really earnings, big focus this week for markets starting today. You did give us a preview of some of the earnings upcoming. So we'll start there. Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings action?
We got to start with Verizon, ticker VZ. They beat by 2 cents on higher revenue. You look at that stock this morning, it's up 4.90%. Looking at Domino's Pizza, DPZ, David Paul Zebra. They missed by 15 cents, but it was done on higher revenues. Domino's Pizza is up a little over 4% this morning. Upcoming after the bell today, upcoming earnings tomorrow morning. You got Coca-Cola, ticker KO. They're going to be releasing EPS is 83 cents. Expected move is 2.78%. You got RTX Corp. That's ticker RTX. Richard Tom X-Ray. Their EPS is $1.45. Expected move is 4.50%. And Sherwin-Williams, SHW, Sam Henry Williams. Their EPS $3.76. Expected move 5.65% when they release tomorrow morning. Emily.
Bill, and I will point out that Verizon was your pick of the day on Friday, up nearly 5% this morning. But hang in to the end of the show. We're going to do a full check-in on that pick of the day. Now to the day's economic events. Light in terms of reports today, but really the highlight here are continuing to watch trade developments. And you did mention, as we move towards that August 1st deadline, Bill, what is going on in terms of the day's economic events?
Yeah, it's light today. I mean, there is a 10 a.m. leading index coming out. News talk about President Trump removing Jerome Powell. It's really going to start to die down this week. It's not as easy to do as what he said, just to remove him, number one. Number two, according to the law, Who would replace him? Well, that would be Philip Jefferson. Trump doesn't want Philip Jefferson in there. He would announce his own guy, but it would take time to get him in there because of the fact that the Senate and Congress, they're basically off for the month of August. So, then you'd miss the September uh, thing. So, yeah, I just don't see him removing Powell. And Bissett is out there, making comments. And, this morning he said, listen, at the end of the day, it's President Trump's decision. Because he doesn't want to take any credit. You can't take credit. You got to give credit to the president, or you get removed. That's kind of the way where it is with the White House these days. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic update, Emily.
Bill will continue to watch news surrounding presidential administration, really, as we pointed out, the main focus there. And as we're doing that and watching earnings, you're still watching other types of news, data, and information using your NewsWare, setting up alerts for a whole host of other types of news, things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, and catalyst calls. You're looking at your stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 20 higher, 7 lower, and 3 unchanged. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. I'm showing gains and everything this morning, so that's all positive. I'm looking at the news behind the tape this morning, like Apple. The UK is designated Apple and Google as having their strategic advantage. Yeah, that could turn into something ugly, but we'll have to wait and see. Amazon, there's some data out there that indicated Amazon has raised prices on low-cost goods, while conversely, Walmart has lowered them. Meta Platforms, Mark Zuckerberg continues to offer OpenAI employees pay packages in the neighborhood of $300 million to join Meta. Tesla, the French government has launched a criminal investigation over Twitter or X. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, talking Microsoft, they're sounding the alarm over SharePoint attacks. Boeing, there's a hearing set for August 28th to end the criminal prosecution over those 737 MAX plane crashes. In terms of guidance, Verizon, they raised their full year 2025 adjusted EPS growth to 1 to 3%. That's positive.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill continuing to pick up momentum in July here. What are you going to pick to start this week?
NXP Semiconductors, that's ticker NXPI, Nancy X-ray Paul India. Earnings are out after the bell. EPS is $2.66. Expected move is 9.45%. Again, Friday's call volume, 2,135 calls versus 2,076 puts. Positive. Open interest, 23K versus 22K, flat. Okay. Brokers are very positive. They're raising price targets, and they're coming out lately saying, they like the stock, but for me, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little weakness. I'm going to go a little lower. I'm going to go 225.70 as my entry price. The stock's up, but I could move a little. We could see a little weakness during the trading day, so we'll have to wait and see. But that's my pick of the day. NXP Semiconductors, ticker NXPI, Nancy X-ray Paul India, Emily.
Bill, we will follow that along with you. And coming up, as I promised, we will do a recap on Friday's pick of the day. So stick with us. But before we get there, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Verizon up 5% after Q2 results beat estimates. Percent on China can start talking about other things like the elephant in the room, which is China's overcapacitation. Biogen plans to invest $2 billion in manufacturing footprint in North Carolina. Starbucks has pumpkin-sized lattes to return August 26. ALKX, Apple Kilo Sam reports positive phase 2 trial data on their narcolepsy drug. Alaska Air resumes operations after an IT outage. Ryanair, net profit more than doubled during the April-June quarter. Wow. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into another week of trading, let's do that check in on Friday's pick of the day, which was Verizon. Now, maybe a little bit early for those pumpkin spice lattes in August from Starbucks, but not too early for a win this morning. You did give us a look at the stock during your earnings report. The company did report a Q2 adjusted EPS of $1.22. That was ahead of consensus estimates by 2 to 3 cents. They reported a revenue of $34.5 billion ahead of estimates of $33.55 billion. You did point out in your newsware alerts that they did raise their guidance looking ahead. And you did give us that note there that hitting your tape on the newsware, it, is pointed out that the stock is up this morning. So we may have given it away. Bill, how did your call work out?
Worked out great. I mean, let's, you gotta, look at the numbers from Friday, essentially. The stock opened up at $40.98. Then it fell down to $40.69 and closed at $40.84. Now, I remember I said under 41. Then you look at the stock this morning. I mean, it's trading 42.74 to 42.76. It already hit a high of 42.88. So anyway, you look at it, this was a big winner because Verizon, came out with a decent report, and a decent report for Verizon turned into a 4 or 5% gain. So yeah, Verizon, VZ, Victor Zebra was a winner. Was a winner.
A win there, Bill. And you even did tell us that you were comfortable holding into Monday with this one, getting that 5% there. Definitely a win to start the week. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's NXP Semiconductors pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning this week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Vani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.